Hey everyone, thanks for joining us on the deep dive today.
Hello.
We're embarking on a really crucial exploration, one that's shaping our digital future and, frankly, the planet itself, the explosive growth of AI in China.
It's a truly fascinating intersection, isn't it? You've got this immense technological ambition sort of colliding head-on with some pretty significant environmental challenges.
Exactly.
Our deep dive today, we're going to unpack the sheer scale of China's AI development, the staggering energy demands it creates, and then this really massive effort to power it all sustainably.
Right. Our mission here is to give you a shortcut, to being genuinely well-informed on this. It's critical stuff. We pulled together insights from Bloomberg on chip supply issues.
Which are always relevant.
Always. Detailed reports on the environmental side, the data center impact, deep dives into major AI players like DeepSeek and Alibaba's Qwen series.
Some really interesting tech there.
And these groundbreaking developments in China's renewable energy infrastructure. So by the end of this, you should have a much clearer picture. The tech, the environmental stakes, what it means globally. Okay, let's unpack this.
Let's do it.
So to really get a handle on what's happening, let's start by mapping out China's current AI landscape. Who are the big players? What kind of tech are they building? And, how are they managing it?
Well, what's truly fascinating, I think, is just the sheer scale, the investment, the speed of iteration. Take DeepSeek, for example.
Okay.
It actually originated from a hedge fund, which is interesting in itself.
Yeah, unusual.
Right, and they've poured enormous resources into building compute clusters. Their first one, Fireflyer, built back in 2019, cost 200 million yuan, had about 1,100 GPUs.
Which is already significant there.
Absolutely. But then Fireflyer 2, started in 2021, was way more ambitious, aiming for 10,000 NVIDIA A100s.
Wow.
And even before the U.S. restrictions really bit hard, by 2022, it was running at over 96% capacity. They logged something like 56.74 million GPU hours, just incredible numbers.
That's a staggering amount of raw processing power.
Mm.
And they're not just building the hardware, right? They're churning out models like crazy. What does that rapid release tell us?
It tells us they're operating with this intense focus on rapid iteration, getting things out there, responding to the market. DeepSeek has been incredibly prolific.
Like
DeepSeek Coder, DeepSeek LLM, November 2023, then DeepSeek Mo in January 24, DeepSeek Math, April 24, their advanced V2 series in May 24, and then V3 in December 24.
That's incredibly fast.
It is. And this V3 model, DeepSeek V3, it uses some really advanced techniques for efficiency, things like multi-token prediction.
Which speeds things up.
Exactly. Predicts several bits of text at once, plus extensive low-level engineering, mixed precision arithmetic using different numerical precisions for speed.
Without losing too much accuracy, presumably.
Right, and minimizing communication latency, overlapping computation and communication, basically making everything work together faster, all deployed on NVIDIA H800 GPUs, notably.
Okay, so DeepSeek's progress is clear. But they're not alone. Alibaba's Qwen series is another major force, isn't it? What are they bringing?
Absolutely. Alibaba Cloud's Qwen is a powerhouse. Qwen 3, released April 2025, has dense models and these mixture of experts giants. MOE,
Right. Explain MOE quickly for everyone.
Sure. It's like having a team of specialized mini models instead of one giant one. For any task, only the most relevant experts get activated. So their flagship, Qwen 3 235B, huge total parameters, but only activates about 22 billion for a task. Super efficient.
That makes sense. And functionally.
Well, Qwen models handle really long context, like 128,000 tokens process a whole book, basically. Supports over 119 languages. They're strong in coding, reasoning, problem solving, uses techniques like rotary positional embeddings.
Helps understand word order.
Precisely, and flash attention, which makes the attention mechanism much faster and uses less memory. Plus, they've integrated vision and audio Qwen VL, Qwen Audio, moving towards an omni model that handles different types of input.
Okay, so the tech is advancing fast. But they are facing these external pressures, right? Particularly around hardware from the U.S.
Yeah.
How are they navigating those chip restrictions?
Yeah, that's a critical question, isn't it? How do they keep this pace up? Bloomberg reported on, I think it was 39 planned data centers in Xinjiang and Qinghai,
Okay.
expecting to use over 115,000 NVIDIA H100 or H200 chips.
Despite the export controls. Since 2022.
Exactly. U.S. commerce officials basically admit there's systematic circumvention, smuggling, complex routes, maybe via Malaysia, hidden shipments.
Wow. Like in seafood crates I read somewhere.
Something like that, yeah. It paints a picture. And while China is investing heavily in domestic chips, like Huawei's Ascend,
They're not quite there yet.
analysts generally agree they still lag behind NVIDIA's top-tier stuff, performance, the whole ecosystem around it.
Yeah.
So that gap fuels the demand, drives these attempts to bypass the rules.
Makes sense. And what about the ecosystem supporting all this? We hear about Hangzhou being a major AI hub, this coder village. What's the story there?
Right, connecting that to the bigger picture. Hangzhou has really cultivated this unique environment, a true coder village, a hotspot for AI startups.
How?
Local and provincial governments have been actively pushing this for a decade. They see the strategic value, offering big subsidies, tax breaks. Companies can claim up to 30 million yuan for new R&D gear, for instance.
That's significant support.
It is. Reduced corporate income tax, R&D deductions, VAT exemptions for AI software. It's clearly nurtured companies like DeepSeek, Alibaba, NetEase, Hikvision.
But there are challenges too, right? Particularly with funding.
Yes. A major hurdle is attracting foreign VC money. There are concerns, about ties to the Chinese government, real or perceived.
Which limits their global reach.
Often, yeah. It tends to lead them to tailor products more for the domestic market initially.
Okay, it's easy to focus on the tech breakthroughs, the ambition, but there's always a cost. What about the environmental side, our digital world, especially with AI booming? What's the hidden price?
That's a huge question. The environmental footprint, it's growing. Energy, water, greenhouse gases, and a big problem, noted in reports, is the lack of transparent data.
Hard to measure the true impact.
Exactly. It's tough to fix what you can't accurately measure.
And when we talk footprint, data centers are ground zero, aren't they? The core of it all. I'm always amazed by their energy use. Hidden powerhouses.
They really are, and their thirst for power is just climbing like crazy. Get this. The 13 biggest operators more than doubled their electricity use between 2018 and 2022, from 50 to 128 terawatt hours.
That's enormous.
Globally, estimates vary, but you're looking at potentially over 1,000 terawatt hours in 2020 for all data centers. Inside them, maybe 80% of the IT power goes to the servers doing the work, but the kicker, cooling. It can eat up anywhere from 21% to over 60% of a data center's total energy. They measure efficiency with PUE, power usage effectiveness. Perfect is 1.0. Global average is around 1.6.
Meaning a lot of energy is wasted, relatively speaking.
Right, 60% more energy for cooling, power delivery, etc. than for the actual computing. Though top players like Google, Meta, they get down to around 1.1. Very efficient.
How does it do that?
Smart cooling, like hot coal aisles, running slightly warmer, using free air cooling where possible, increasingly liquid cooling for really dense racks. And water use, too. A big data center might use 700,000 liters a year just for cooling.
So, okay, even with tech getting more efficient, overall energy use is still climbing. How does that work? It feels backward, like a more fuel-efficient car leading to more driving.
That's the perfect analogy. It's the rebound effect. Fixed line networks, halved energy per gigabyte every 2 years roughly. Mobile networks, 10–30% more efficient annually. 4G uses, like 150 the energy of 2G for the same data.
Huge gains.
Massive.
Yeah.
But total energy used by mobile networks still went up about 25% between 2015 and 2020. Why? Because mobile data traffic exploded 17 times in that period.
Our consumption just swamps the savings.
Exactly. And AI's direct use, still relatively small, under 2% of global electricity in 2021. But projections. AI and crypto combined could double their energy use from around 460 TWh in 2022 to over 1,000 TWh by 2026.
That's why things like carbon-aware computing are becoming important, shifting workload.
Precisely. Shifting computations to times or places with cleaner energy grids. It's a key strategy.
Okay, given these immense growing energy needs for AI, it gets really interesting when we look at China's strategic response. They're building something truly enormous, aren't they?
Indeed, and it connects back to a vision from decades ago. Qian Suisen, the rocket scientist.
Father of their space program.
That's the one. He envisioned harnessing the desert's renewable energy potential. Now, that vision, it's becoming reality. China's building scientists call it a world-leading electricity production and transmission network. Out in the northwestern deserts, the Gobi.
Using what? Solar and wind?
Primarily, yes. Booming solar and wind farms. The installed capacity in the northwest is already almost 500 gigawatts.
500 gigawatts.
And add in the Gobi area in Inner Mongolia, you're looking at 600 gigawatts.
Wow. Okay, 600 gigawatts. Help us grasp that scale. How does that compare?
It's huge. For perspective,
Yeah.
all U.S. power plants combined. About 1,100 gigawatts, end of 2022. So China's desert power alone is over half the entire U.S. generating capacity.
That is monumental, and it's mostly renewables.
More than half is wind and solar in that northwestern region. And what's really impressive is the utilization efficiency over 95% on average.
For renewables, that's incredibly high, isn't it? Usually they're more intermittent.
It's unprecedented for integrating such a huge chunk of renewables while keeping utilization that high.
Yeah.
It points to very advanced grid management, massive transmission lines, moving power where it's needed.
So connecting this back, what does this massive green energy build-out mean for the AI race? Is this a strategic game changer?
Oh, I think it absolutely could upend the AI race. This isn't just about being green. It's profoundly strategic.
How so?
It provides a potentially vast supply of cheap, clean power right to the heart of their manufacturing and innovation centers. That changes the fundamental economics of AI development.
Lowering one of the biggest costs, electricity for compute.
Exactly. It significantly boosts their competitiveness in high-tech sectors like AI. Imagine if that huge cost factor suddenly became abundant and relatively cheap. It helps offset chip restrictions, maybe even attracts talent looking for fewer infrastructure headaches. It's a long-term play.
Okay, so we've covered China's AI ambition, the massive green energy push, the chip challenges. How does this all fit into the ongoing AI competition with the U.S.? It feels like a complex chess game.
It absolutely is. Multifaceted. You've got the U.S. export controls trying to slow down access to those top NVIDIA chips, the H100s, H200s, seen as crucial for training the biggest models.
And the smuggling suggests China still really wants them.
Demand is clearly high, yeah. It highlights the pressure.
Yet, despite that, we're seeing Chinese models making waves globally, setting benchmarks even. How's that happening?
Right, and that's where companies like DeepSeek and Qwen come in, showing a different angle to the competition. Remember DeepSeek's R1 model release, January 2025.
The one with the low cost.
Exactly. It offered significantly lower costs than rivals. Some investors actually braced for a price war in the U.S. AI market. DeepSeek got called the Pinduoduo of AI.
Like the aggressive e-commerce platform.
Right, because of the low price.
Yeah.
And others followed. ByteDance, Tencent, Baidu, Alibaba all cut prices on their models. But the fascinating part, reports suggested DeepSeek was profitable despite the low price.
Unlike some rivals burning cash.
Correct. It hints at a different, maybe more sustainable business model. That puts real pressure on Western companies struggling with the high costs of developing and running these huge models.
So it's not just about having the absolute fastest chip, but maybe efficiency and cost.
That seems to be a major part of their strategy. And look at Qwen's latest models like Qwen 3 235B, competitive benchmarks against GPT-4o, Gemini 2.5 Pro, but using that more efficient MoE architecture.
Requires less compute power for actually running the model, the inference part.
Precisely. So it raises this really important question. Can China compete, maybe even lead, not by having the most powerful chips, but by focusing on hyper-efficient models, often open-weight models, too?
Explain open weight.
It means the model's parameters, its learned knowledge, are made publicly available. Developers anywhere can download them, build on them, fine-tune them.
Creates an ecosystem.
A powerful one. It can accelerate innovation, allow faster tailoring of solutions compared to closed-source models like GPT-4. It fundamentally changes the competitive dynamic. It forces the U.S. and others to think beyond just raw compute towards accessibility, versatility, efficiency.
Wow. We've covered a lot. The sheer speed of China's AI development, the often hidden environmental cost we all face from digital tech, and this huge strategic bet China's making on renewable energy.
We really have. We've seen the innovation, the chip access struggles, and the creative workarounds, the energy demands of data centers, and this colossal green infrastructure project in the desert. Plus the shifting dynamics in the global AI competition, power versus efficiency, open versus closed.
It's definitely a complex, fast-moving landscape.
Yeah.
And it leaves us and you with a pretty provocative thought, I think. As AI gets woven deeper into our lives, demanding more and more resources.
And as nations compete fiercely for technological leadership using different strategies.
How do we collectively make sure this relentless drive for innovation is balanced? Balanced with a truly sustainable future for the planet. That's something to mull over as we continue these deep dives into our digital world.